All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Right,
After
Lisa.
I
Thank you.
after I did my little trip over England and went up to Scotland, and I just noticed so many differences about the way that you guys do real estate. And I thought it'd be really cool to talk to you just to kind of see the differences. So,
Certainly.
just to give everybody a little bit of a little bit of context, can you just explain exactly where you are and a bit about your career?
Okay, well, my name's Christopher Watkin, and I've been in real estate now for about 25 years. I'm working my way up through the ranks from the bottom all the way up to the top, running my own branch. I then ended up, one shape or form, running the franchise department for one of the UK's largest franchises, and noticed that there was, out of 160 offices, there was 4 or 5 of them that were actually pulling trees up and growing at 20-30% a year, when the average was nearer 5. And their marketing was different to everyone else's. So I decided that I would take my career. I handed my notice in 5 years ago, and now I help letting and estate agents, or as you call them, real estate agents and property managers, organically grow their businesses by attracting new clients to their businesses.
Perfect. I'd like to talk about that a little bit later. So, how is the market there at the moment with Brexit? Like, you know, that's all we're hearing on the news over here is about Brexit and all that sort of thing. And I've got a lot of friends that have got property in and around London. So we've sort of had a lot of price differences here. Like, you know, people are saying property prices are going down, and others are saying it's a correction because property was overpriced and all that. I mean, I just noticed how expensive it is over there in London. Like, it's crazy. What do you think? I mean, what is happening because of Brexit now? How has the market been? How are the sellers coping? How are the buyers coping? How are real estate agents coping?
Okay, I think Brexit, there's a lot of people panicking over Brexit, but like most human beings, it was like some excuse to panic over.
Yeah,
And if it
true.
wasn't Brexit, they'll be panicking over Trump or China or something silly
Yeah,
like that.
that's true.
Um, with regard to the British market, what you're finding is that London itself, and the surrounding areas, which is the southeast of England, has been a completely different beast in terms of a housing market compared to the rest of the UK. And what you're finding is that because house prices in the southeast and London over the last 10 years have gone up twice as much as the rest of the UK, what we're finding is that whether it's Brexit or whether it's just confidence, I think confidence is a huge thing. It is really affecting the London market. But as soon as you step outside London and the southeast, it's like a different country, and everything's going swimmingly well.
Oh, right.
It's a normal, yeah. But let's be brutally honest with you, and I'm sure you must have areas of Sydney and other cities that are silly. People pay stupid money for these properties in London. You know, you can, for a 2-bedroom apartment in a not particularly nice area of London, you know, you're looking at £500,000. But if you catch a train, which is 59 minutes from King's Cross, which is one of the big train stations, £500,000 will get you a Victorian farmhouse with 2 acres, stables, and a granny annex.
Yeah, yeah.
So really, so really, Britain's like a two-part housing market. The southeast is a different world, and everything else is normal.
So the other thing I wanted to know about the structure that you guys have, and I'm not sure if it's different all over the UK, but here we generally have that the vendors pay, so the sellers pay, the agents list the property, and then the sellers pay the fee. The buyers don't pay, but then we have separate buyers agents as well. Is that similar to how you guys also have the structure?
Okay, well, firstly, there are no buyer's agents whatsoever. I could probably count them on one hand. There are a few for the people that have got more money than sense in London.
Right.
In terms of the fees being charged, the average selling fee, there is no vendor paid advertising. It's all taken on the chin by the agent.
So nobody does vendor paid advertising?
I would probably say 0.05% of estate, you know, the real top end, the properties that are 2, 3, 4 million pounds, which again, central London is you will get vendor paid advertising, but 99.99% will be agent paid advertising. And if an estate agent can get 1% of the sale price on a no sell, no fee basis, they're doing pretty good. And exceptional is 1.5%. All no sell, no fee. So if they don't sell it, they don't get paid a penny.
Wow. I mean, ours goes kind of the purple bricks is probably the lowest fee that structure that we have. Some go up to like, 3%, 3.5%. That's a lot harder to get now.
Yes.
But yeah, wow.
Worth,
and plus vendor paid advertising.
Yep. When it comes to property management, or as we call it, lettings in the UK, you might call it that as well, I don't know. You are looking at the two main services where the landlord pays the agent just to find a tenant, and that's normally around 1 month's worth of rent.
Right.
And then the fully managed service where the agent basically takes the rent in and sorts all the issues out. You are looking at anywhere between 8 to 12% of the monthly rent.
Yeah, that's probably pretty similar to here, although some will do it cheaper than that as well. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So tell me about the portals over there, the real estate portals. Are they like industry owned portals, or what's the go over there?
Okay, so there are 2 to 3 main portals. The predominant one is a portal called Rightmove, which was started in the year 2000 and has slowly grown to a beast, which charges on average agents around £950 per month to put all their properties on. And that is the go-to portal. There's a second portal called Zoopla, and they charge on average £400 to £500 a month. And again, what you tend to find is most agents tend to be on both, simply because most agents are like, they don't want any excuse to lose a listing. Yeah, and if you're up against another agent. Interestingly, 5 years ago, there was agents came together, or an awful lot of agents came together to start their own portal called On the Market. And that should have taken off because agents were worried that Rightmove, they make 74% profit, net profit.
And who owns that? Is that a media company that owns that, or who owns that?
That's a PLC. It was originally started by some of the big boys and some city money, and then they sold all their shares off, and now it's a publicly limited company, listed on the stock market.
Yeah.
And the city love it because 74% net profit is their money.
Yeah.
So this On the Market thing was quite interestingly because they set a rule with all the agents saying if you're going to join us, you can only have one other portal. So they had to drop one other portal. Interestingly, most agents dropped to Zoopla, which was the second one, making Rightmove even stronger. You see, the problem with the UK estate agency is 75 to 80% of agents are one-man band operations, and there's no one bringing us all together saying, come on, let's sod Rightmove and go and set our own up. Everyone's worried what everyone else will think about them. Everyone's worried that everyone else will stab themselves in the back. So no one moves.
Same as here.
So
exactly the same. Yeah. And so how do agents feel about the portals? Do they just go, well, we just have to do this, or do they resent them, or how do they feel about them? It's just part of business. What's the general consensus, do you think?
Well, you're always going to have those agents that moan and say that it's a cost, but at the end of the day, let's be frank with each other. The portals have given even the baby agents, I'm sure it's the same in Australia, a level playing field, where you haven't got to worry about putting the properties that you have in front, people finding your own website. Because if there's one big web portal, all you have to do is, pay the tax, get your property on there. Yes. Yeah, so really, the biggest issue is instead of seeing it as a cost, see it as a way of £1,000 on average, as a way of putting your properties out there. Now you can use the rest of your money, your time and your effort to go and get more business. And the portals should be used to get more business. They should be there just to get the properties on the market and then go and use other techniques to go and find more business.
Yeah. So that £1,000 or whatever, that's for unlimited properties, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's, I mean, that's quite reasonable.
Oh, you can, oh, trust me, you can pimp up your right move.
Oh, okay. Right.
Up to, for featured this, featured that. You can spend £2,000, £2.5 a month if you want. But it's
Yeah.
like most things, it's how far do you pimp it up?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when it becomes not worth it anymore. So how's Purple Bricks going over there?
Well, interestingly, the online market, they started 5 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and they just caught the wave just at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
Online agents have around in the UK after 5 years, no more than about 5 to 6% national penetration.
Okay.
There are some towns where it's 20%, some towns where it's one or less than 1%, but on average 6%,
Mm.
of which the vast majority of it is Purple Bricks.
Mm.
The interesting thing is that the third largest online agent has just gone bust in the last week.
Mm.
An agency called eMove.
Okay. Yeah, I think I saw them.
Um,
Yeah. Mm.
and what you're finding is a lot of agents are going around cocksure of themselves, saying, "Well, the end of online agency is dead," and no, they've won the battle, but they
Oh,
haven't
okay.
won the war.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, interestingly, the UK agents are the biggest thing that agents have with Purple Bricks is the fact that you have to pay up front,
Mm.
which is not the normal UK method. It's you pay on results.
Mm.
I think the magic thing is that I think we as agents are very insular, and we're actually giving Purple Bricks a lot of publicity and oxygen by us constantly talking about them.
Big time, big time. I mean, when I was there, I mean, I saw a couple of signs, but it wasn't anything that it was, kind of dominated. But talking to friends that lived there, they kind of made out that it was, a lot more. Maybe, like you said, it's one of their towns that, sort of have a little bit more saturation. But I just, I was sort of curious as to your perception of how they're going over there.
Well, isn't it interesting? When you decide that you want to buy a brand new car like a Mini, all of a sudden you see Minis on.
Yeah, you see it everywhere. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think it's the same with Purple Bricks. Is that we become myopic and blind to the other agents' boards, but as soon as we see a Purple Bricks board, we go, "Ah!"
Yeah, there's one. Yeah.
So really, I don't, we should be aware of them. But there's always been cheap fee agents. I'm sure there has been in ours.
There has, yeah, forever. And like you said, the only difference in this model is that you pay up front. That's the only difference, So that's probably been the cause of if you want to call it the success, because that's the only difference, really, isn't it?
Interestingly, I haven't got the full figures yet, but we've been doing some videos of people who've used your Purple Bricks sort of agents.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of no one's going to believe an agent, but they will believe someone else. I mean, it's the TripAdvisor effect, isn't it? We spend thousands of pounds of dollars on what someone we've never met's comments on TripAdvisor. And we've been testing this video where someone basically says that they bought this lovely home, and they spend a few minutes talking about why they bought it, and then they decided to sell, move on, and the fact that they used this particular agent and they felt let down, and then the high street agent, the full service agent, came in on a knight in shining armour and helped the day. a classic, probably 10-minute video, but that's starting to get some traction down in the south on a couple of offices, and that's maybe a tip that other agents in Oz. I mean, video is very powerful, especially someone on, a client on video.
Yeah, very much. So, yeah, here the structure in offices, and you said a lot of your offices are one-man bands. We have the licensee who's responsible for like trust accounting, wages, responsible for the office. And then you've got agents that work underneath that licensee. So you might have, 5 employees under that licensee, or 20 or whatever. Is yours structured very similar to that, or is it normally one-man bands around the place? Is that more what it's predominantly, or is that generalising?
Okay, so the people that work under the head licensed person, are they self-employed?
No. A lot of them are on wages. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You see, 99.99%, you have one boss, who runs it, limited company, business owner, and they will employ staff. I've been doing some homework in terms of what I mean. I'm led to believe that there are, especially in the cities, there are hub models where you have self-employed agents that work under a big hub. Is that correct in Oz?
Yes.
Okay, that is where I think the UK is going to go. Okay, but at the moment, all employees.
Right. Okay. All right.
The thing that struck me, because I've been talking to a lot of people, is the thing I like about Australian estate agents is that even as an employee, you see it as your personal responsibility to train yourself, to spend money on going to ARIC and training. Most bosses are absolutely appalling at training in the UK, and most employees won't even put their hand in their pocket for £20 a month training.
Wow. Yeah. No, that's something here. I find that a lot of agents are very, very into, self-development and, want to succeed, Yeah.
No, lazy as hell.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's interestingly is that I'm not joking you here, but we put you Aussies on a pedestal. I mean, the likes of your Tom Panos, the likes of your Josh Fegan, are considered gods here. Because we don't have anything like that in the UK.
Wow. So they're known over there?
Oh, God, yes.
Oh, wow.
There's like celebrity superstars. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Tom Panos is coming over in the summer, and that's gonna cost them 20 grand to get him over. And there's people spending £200-300, which is unheard of.
Really? So superstar status, yeah? Cool.
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
They're the two. Interestingly, I mean, those two, they couldn't be further more than chalk and cheese, haven't you? You've got Mr. Soft, and then you've got Tom Panos going, for this.
Yeah.
And if you love Tom, you're not a big fan of the other one, and if you don't like, vice versa.
They'll find their level. Whoever, which one likes which one. So,
genuinely, I mean, there are people looking forward to coming over to ARIC that talk months in advance.
Yeah. So people coming here from England.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they all organise themselves. Oh, yeah, it's like a big party.
Yeah. Oh, well, they come over here, they can spend some money, can't they, on training? That's good. All right.
Probably something to do with the nice heat in the Gold Coast and a few eggs on the barbie, mate.
I know. That's where I live, on the Gold Coast. It's amazing. All right. So something else I noticed over there was a lot of solicitors that were acting as real estate agents. Now, I'm not sure if that was just where I happened to go, but I saw quite a few on my travels. Is that something that's quite common there too?
It isn't common. It's very common in Scotland.
Maybe that's where it was. Yeah, maybe it was probably, actually it was in Scotland. You're right. It was.
In Scotland it is, but down south, no.
Yeah.
You can count on one finger, I know, the number of solicitors in England.
No, you are right. It was Scotland. Yeah. Okay. The other thing
Isn't that a lovely country?
Sorry?
Scotland's lovely, isn't it?
Oh, it was beautiful. I loved we had the most beautiful weather. It was like Queensland weather when we were there. It was amazing. We had just the best time. It was incredible. Yeah. So, so the other thing that I wanted to know is that I noticed that a lot of agents are not into self-promotion. Why? Like, it's all the office name. There's no photos on signboards. I think I saw one photo on a signboard. I didn't see any self-promotion at all. And I was looking for it.
Let's be honest, the British are quite reserved, aren't they, compared to you Aussies?
Okay.
It's tall poppy syndrome. People don't want to put their head above the parapet. Bosses are worried that if they promote someone that they'll leave and go and set up their own business. I'm a big fan. I believe people buy from people. Yeah. And the thing that I push my clients to do is push themselves and become the local property experts and get themselves on video. I mean, this is interesting. We've got, I'm a huge, big fan of TV, of video. We've got I gave the challenge to one of my clients to set up a TV show on their town. And after 9 months without spending one penny on boosting or advertising.
Mm-hmm.
The town has a population of 17,500 people,
Mm-hmm.
and within 24 hours of the show coming out every Friday, an average of 3,500 to 4,500 people have viewed an average of 18 minutes of a 25-minute show. And I'm telling you, the show is dire. It's all about what do you love about living in this town, and they interview old people, and then they go to a housing estate and talk about competitors' houses that have sold, and they talk about what's happening in the property market, and you'll switch off from it. But where else would you get 3.5 to 4.5, 25% of the population logging on to an agent's Facebook page without being prompted and watching 18 minutes? Yeah. And that's where I think the future is it is all about self-promotion, but not about putting your picture on a sticker or on a billboard. It's actually using the power of video to get out there and basically be interesting. Don't talk about yourself or your firm or your services. No one gives a flying monkeys about that. Talk about stuff that homeowners are interested in, and that's themselves and what the value of their property is. So just talk about their town and their property and you'll win. I mean, you've got to admit, 25% of the population is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, agents are into self-promotion here, as you would have seen, a lot. And, sometimes it does come across as it's all about them. But when you're doing it, when you're promoting yourself along with the benefits for a seller or for a buyer, that's when it is effective, as you said, not to make it about you.
I would actually I would slightly disagree with you there, because no one actually cares about you as an agent or as a person. I'm nothing personal. But if you think about it, only probably 1 or 2% of your property owners are likely to be selling in the next 6 months. The rest aren't. So they don't. I don't like the word self-promotion. Instead of, why not just talk about them and what they're. It's like we've all been to parties, haven't we? And someone talks about themselves all night. What do we think of that person? We think they're awful.
Well,
all I say to agents is, why don't you just talk about the housing market?
Yeah.
Why don't you go to the local coffee shop and talk about why the coffee shop is such an important part of the community? We call it the digital mayor. If you go to YouTube and just type in digital mayor, the idea came from America, but we've been focusing it on in the UK, and just get involved with the community. Because everyone, let's be honest, let's say I'm in Manly in Sydney. Why do I know that? Because I know it. Yeah. If you're an agent in Manly, why don't you just talk about Manly and what's happening to Manly property prices, and what's happening, and why do people love living in Manly, and the people that live in Manly, not actually saying, hi, I'm an agent and I'm going to sell your house and I'm brilliant and my will is this big and all that malarkey.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Go on. I like to disagree though, because I think it's good to have a little bit of a debate every so often. But I still think that there's a place for people that top of mind awareness. Because if the seller doesn't know you and they know the office, then it's just like a lucky dip to them. They'll say, "I'll ring that office." And whoever they get out to the house, it's going to be a lucky dip. It might be a good agent. It might be somebody who's not so good. It might be, who knows? So to me, I believe the agent needs to put themselves out there to have that top of mind awareness. And if that's a photo on a signboard, and it's not, like it's all about me. If it's a discreet photo, that promotes them, I think, you want the sellers to know you, some go above and beyond that. And there's some people around here that do, billboards and things like that. And they do it very effective. And, they can sort of do it in a way where it's not the ego advertising. Because I agree, I don't like the ego advertising. I don't. But when it's something different and something a little bit unusual, but it gets known to the sellers, I think that's very effective. And I think that's what agents really want to do. And that's what videos do as well.
I don't know. I mean, do people swap banks in the Australia easily? Personal banks.
Banks now, yeah. We've just had a whole big schmozzle with banks, but yeah, I mean, I don't think people are loyal to real estate agents.
See, I'm a believer that brand, just because someone's aware of your brand, just like the banks in the UK spend millions of pounds, even billions of pounds, telling people who they are. Just because someone knows you means that you're not going to use you. And what I'm suggesting is it's not about you, and it's not about, when I say you, I mean you as the agent.
The agent. Yeah.
What I'm saying is, you know, if you're trying, roll the clock back to when you're 18, you were trying to pull someone. If you talk about them and what they're interested in, the human reaction will be that they become interested in you, because that's natural human. That's what.
No, I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with that. And, you know, like you said, you know, to do your videos and to do it with, say, you know, different tradespeople and, you know, people that are in kind of real estate mode as well as the local industry, local businesses.
Now this might screw your mind up. In the UK, when you put a property on the market, you only put it on the market with one agent. And there's no such thing as multi-listings. Okay.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And one of the most powerful ways that to get on people's radar is, and this is what we suggest, this is what my clients do, is that 3 times a week they get their mobile phone and their tripod like an BBC news reporter, and they stand outside their competitors' properties and tell people it's come on the market and why they should buy it.
Okay.
And people say, well, that's why are you asking me to sell a competitor's property? Well, what's happening is that everyone in the locality is going onto the portals to see what's coming on the market. But if you're the person reporting, saying this is simply the very best buy-to-let, you know, landlord investor investment this week, and it's come on the market with my competitor, but it's such a fantastic deal, you should buy it. All the landlords all of a sudden start to follow you, and then start to send you.
What would their existing sellers or landlords say, though?
Well, what you do is you've got 2 types of buyers, haven't you? You've got one for owner occupation, one for buy to let. You're not trying to sell it. All you're telling people is this is the greatest buy to let deal there is.
Yeah.
And if one of your agents says, well, why aren't you pushing mine? I'm not here to push properties. I'm here to tell people what the best buy to let deal is. Yours is not the best buy to let deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have no kickback from anyone. There's no issues as long as you mention the agent. And it really does screw agents up. But what it does do is, we've proved it. We've been doing it for years. It makes landlords make contact with you and say, which one should I buy?
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Well, let's get some people over here testing that. Test that theory.
If anyone wants to give me a shout, I'm happy to show you what you have to do using UK laws, and there's not much difference, I'm sure, with Australian rules. What you have to say and can't say to protect yourself.
Yeah. So what do you do? Do you have online courses, or what do you do? Or do you do coaching with people, or what do you do?
Okay. All my training that I have is all out there for free. I have a YouTube channel, Christopher Watkin. If you go to YouTube and type in Christopher Watkin, you'll see a black and white little face. And there's over 500 videos on there, which have been uploaded in the last 18 months. And they teach people everything I've been saying: how to become the local property expert, how to stand outside houses, how to do video. I give it all away for free.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Well, we'll get our people. I'll put a link underneath the video as well, so that people can have a look at that. Yeah. Well, thank you for that. It's interesting to, you know, just sort of see how the differences. I mean, we're pretty much the same anyway. You know, a lot of that is very similar. You know, just about everything, you know, in one way, shape or form at the moment is, you know, we've got the same unrest. We've got, you know, lots of different things, the same, the portals, you know, so it's just, you know, I just thought it'd be really interesting to see, you know, the difference between us and, you know, if there's anything that we can learn from each other. I think that's always important. We're always learning, aren't we?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Lisa, it's been emotional. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And what's the weather like there? Freezing?
The sun has just literally come up. It's grey. It's horrible. It's about 4 degrees centigrade. It's been raining all yesterday. It was drizzly as hell. Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah, we were so lucky.
I blame Brexit, actually.
Yeah, blame Brexit for everything. Yeah, that's what they do. All right. Well, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Look after yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. You too. Thanks. See ya.
Bye.